What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Lever Talks. My name is Rob, and today we are talking about UFC 273 Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie. Right, so Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie. So this, obviously, for those who don't know, this fight was made when as essentially a backup to the Max Holloway fight, because Max Holloway had to back out for injury. Now, the weird thing is about that situation as a whole is Max Holloway's just been medical cleared to come back to fight. So I'm quite surprised that the UFC haven't ducked out the Korean Zombie to get out of his title fight. But I think all said and done, I think the Korean Zombie's probably definitely entitled to a title shot. I don't think he's going to win. I think Volkanovski's he's much more of a superior fighter as a whole. He's much more well-rounded. I think he's proven that in his last couple of fights. But long story short, yeah, that fight's going to take place in, I think, first April 9th, I think, if I remember rightly, UFC 273. So we'll see how that plays out. It's going to be a really good card as a whole, from what I understand. You've got the Volkanovski Korean Zombie fight, obviously, and then we've got the Aljamain Sterling and Billy Yan 2 fight. And then we're also talking about having the Khamzat Chimaev and Gilbert Burns fight on that, if Khamzat can get his visa sorted in time, from what I understand. So it's going to be a really good card in general. So this fight is going to be the headliner fight, and it's going to be I would say it's probably going to be a 5-rounder unless Volkanovski knocks him out. I don't see the Korean Zombie knocking out Volkanovski. Volkanovski just seems to be an absolute machine. Like in that last fight of his, like, it was a war, he nearly got choked out. Like, the man just doesn't lose. I think he's undefeated, or he's lost very minimal fights. Don't know the exact stats, don't get me wrong. But man, like, he can fight good. And it's a shame that it wasn't the Holloway fight, because I really want to see Holloway fight him again, based off the fact that Holloway's new training regime of not sparring prior to fighting just seemed to have upped his game when he's in the ring. I think they're both, I mean, Holloway's had some absolute monster fights in the last little while too, right? So that trilogy kind of has to happen at some stage, and it wouldn't surprise me if it does happen it does after this fight. They'll put that together, as long as no one gets injuries, and then hopefully that fight will go ahead. I think if the Korean Zombie does somehow win, obviously I think Holloway is entitled to the next shot either way. I don't think they're going to duck Holloway. He's done nothing wrong. It's just the fact that he's had an injury. He's gone out. He's been medically cleared to come back, and it's the timing of it all is just unfortunate, right? I think that's ultimately it. So what comes back in the trilogy fight? Well, I mean, ideally, Holloway versus Volkanovski is going to be the biggest fight of the year in that division, no doubt. I think, I mean, I can't really see Dan Hooker coming up into the field too much with it. I think there's some other potential people who might have a good go at getting into kind of that top 5 category as 2023 happens. But overall, I think we will end up with a Volkanovski and Holloway 3 fight, which will be super interesting. And I kind of hope that Holloway gets it, because Holloway's super underrated. He's super underrated. If you go and look at all the fights he's had and what he's won and what he's achieved, like, he's much further ahead than most people in the UFC, and he's a super humble guy too, by the seems of it. So I think he's truly underrated, and I think that he is the real true champion. That said, not taking anything away from Volkanovski, he is proven that he is the champion, and he can fight. The man can fight without a doubt. So that's probably where it will end up. All the best to Korean Zombie on his endeavors as become champion, but unfortunately I don't think that he will get the win. But either way, it's an exciting card. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are too. I think it's reality now that the UFC are just putting together some absolute cracker fights in this year, right? I think that's ultimately what's happening. I think they've got, I mean, the first 5 UFCs is like of 2022 huge, right? We've just had Francis Ngannou Serogan. That was like the biggest heavyweight fight nearly of all time, I would say. Maybe, unless John Jones comes back, I don't think it's gonna top it, right? I think there was more hype around the Serogan Ngannou fight than there was I would say for any other fight, like any of the Joneses fights. Like I think there was more hype around it, but now obviously You know, Jones is talking about fighting Stipe. So we'll see where that ends up. And Ghani's gone out of the picture. Well, interesting to see how that whole contract money negotiation talks goes, and we'll go from there. But it's crazy. It's crazy. UFC 271 is just around the corner. That's the Adesanya Whitaker fight. That's going to be a cracking card. And then you've got UFC 273, which is this one. You've also got a fight night in there, which is like Benel Dariush and Islam Makhachev. Like, that's going to be a great card. And you've got UFC 274, which I can't even remember what UFC 274 is off the top of my head without looking it up online. But it's just going to be a great first half of the year. It's going to be fantastic. You know, we've got Conor McGregor potentially coming back. Who knows, man? Who knows? It's going to be great. Either way, I'm interested to see this fight card go down as a whole. I'm excited, and I hope you guys are too. Leave me a comment. Let me know who you think is going to win and how that featherweight division is going to play out within the UFC. And yeah, if you've liked this video, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that little bell that notifies you the next time I go live. And I'll see you on the next one.